I've got a review for you here on the channel today, and that is the new Win&Win Meta-LX Riser. I just got it in the other day, and I just finished setting it up. I'm going to show you the highlights of the riser, what I think about it, and then I'm going to shoot and tune it here at 30 meters, and I'll also finish up the video with a scoring round here at 18 meters. So real quick, before I get too far, apologies about the noise that's going on around me. My neighbors are doing a bit of land clearing, and it's a jungle, as you can see behind me, so they're running a giant brush hog attached to a skid steer. So there's gonna be some noise, and I apologize about that. And real quick, if you don't mind, if you're interested in one of these Meta-LX risers, I will have links in the description below to where you can grab one at Lancaster Archery Supply in case you're interested. That is an affiliate link, and it genuinely helps this channel if you click that link before you shop there. Also, I want to know what you think about this review format. This is the first time that I'm actually doing it this way. Normally, I do an unboxing, show you what I think about the riser, and align and set it up, and then I come out here and shoot it and tune it and tell you how it actually feels. But instead, what I did is I filmed a bunch of B-roll that I'll use as I describe to you how I actually think of the riser, what my first impressions are, and then we'll get into the shooting and the tuning. There's just a little bit going on inside the office today. We're fulfilling all the back orders of all the dampened barebow weights that have finally come in stock now inside the US. So there was some noise, and I didn't want to interrupt that process because we have a lot of orders that we needed to fulfill because we finally got our first shipment from Austria of the dampened barebow weights. Win&Win did send me this riser. I forgot to disclose earlier in the video. So I'm going to also add this little segment earlier in the video. Full disclosure, just like I always do on this channel, Win&Win did supply me this riser for testing for free for the sake of putting a review on my channel. However, just like every other review, I always let them know that I will just be brutally honest, and no matter what, I'm going to tell it like it is. However, if I find some issues like I found in this riser, I'm going to reach out to them and see what they have to say. And if they have any response, I will let you know and post it down in the video or down in the description below to let me know if for some reason maybe there's a manufacturer's defect, because this is one of the very first risers out there, and maybe I did something wrong as well. So I will let you know if they have any response to any of the issues that I did see, and huge thanks to Win&Win for sending me this gear. So with that being said, first impressions of this Win&Win Meta-LX is it is very, very sharp. The fit and finish, the paint on the riser, everything just looks absolutely flawless at first look. So when I first look at it, I don't see a single speck, a single dirt nib, a single anything. No drips, nothing. The paint is absolutely flawless. It's very smooth, very, very soft to the touch. I'm not feeling like any sharp angles or anything. It is a really, really nice looking riser. When you look up close, you can see that there's a lot of metal flake, a lot of flake in the actual clear coat. As far as the finish of the riser and the look of it, it's absolutely phenomenal. There is some things to note though. Definitely some things that have changed on the riser that I did not know was changing because they didn't really publish a ton of information about it is new tiller bolts. At first glance, they do have the markings on it so you can actually make adjustments just like the precision tiller bolts that are available on my website. These are made out of steel, it seems. But when I first took them out of the bow because I wanted to just take a look at them, measure them, and check them out a little bit more, I realized that Win&Win has gotten rid of the collet lock. So it's now just a standard, what would be considered, I guess, a grub screw lock where it pushes up against the backside of the riser, or the backside of the tiller bolt rather, and it locks it in place. However, there is good news. If you do end up needing precision tiller bolts, they still will work on this bow. I did verify and put them in place, and they still assemble and lock and have the full range of adjustment just like you normally would have on any Win&Win. So that is a very good sign. In case you're wearing out your limbs or running oversized limbs, you can still run our precision tiller bolts and potentially get a little bit better fit and finish, because I did also check the outside diameter of these tiller bolts that came on the bow, and to my knowledge they're a little bit outside of spec for ILF standards. ILF standards is supposed to be 375 thousandths of an inch, 0.375 inches, and these came in at 0.3725. and usually I think a lower limit on most companies is 373. So even though it's a little bit undersized, the limbs still fit and lock in place just like I like to see, because Win&Win does a good job in not oversizing the butt of the limb where it actually snaps into place into the actual tiller bolt, and so it's still a very firm positive connection, so I'm happy to see that. Some other things that I did notice that potentially was a little bit frustrating for me is that I couldn't put my go-to grips on this bow. I couldn't put the Arcor grips on it because the riser is actually much thicker in the grip area where the grip is, and I couldn't just take a grip off of my ATF-DX and put it on here, even though it's the same exact shape and it should fit. This Win&Win Meta-LX is 1 millimeter thicker. It's over 16.5 millimeters, somewhere in that range. I forget exactly, but it's over 16 millimeters, whereas both of my ATF-DXs and my Meta-DX are all like 15.5 millimeters or so. So RS over at Arcor prints these grips for the given size. So if you have one of these Meta-LX risers and you're looking to put a grip on it from like Arcor or somewhere else, make sure you measure the riser, because what you've got from your Meta-DX or even your ATF-DX will not bolt onto this riser. At least mine didn't. And I tried to put a wooden grip that I had modified that I was using on my Meta-DX, and I actually cracked the grip when I tried to slide it on, and I guarantee that my other grips from Arcor would have broke if I would have tried to put it on. So just pay attention to that. It's definitely something that I've heard is an issue from time to time on some of these Win&Wins. They go through a couple of iterations that you don't really necessarily know about, and the thickness inside where the grip slides on has been changing from time to time. So just pay attention to that. And when you do order an Arcor grip, if you're interested in one, make sure you use my name Kaminsky at checkout for 10% off of their grips. And I'll have links in the description below for them in case you're interested, but just know that you'll have to measure your riser most likely and send that to RS so you can make your grip fit properly. That aside, another issue that I did see, which I was hoping wouldn't be a problem because it would have sped up my assembly process, is that this clicker plate area, or the plunger height area rather, this plate here, has changed slightly compared to the ATF-DX. Now the ATF-DX plate I had all set up, ready to go. I was gonna use my arrow rest and put it on so that way I didn't have to prepare a new arrow rest. And it just wouldn't fit because the back side of this plate is chamfered slightly differently on this compared to the ATF-DX. So it's just a small little complaint of mine. You know, I really like that usually Win&Win's consistency and how they build bows is really top notch. So I tend to be able to just use the same string and change all sorts of different parameters, including risers and limbs and everything, and I never have to adjust my nocking point. So I'm sure it'll still be fine because the geometry still seems to be the same. I'm using the same plunger height that I did on my ATF-DX, so I'm assuming that it'll just work without issue here. However, it was just a pain in the butt. I had to put a new rest on. Not a big deal for most out there because they're not going to be coming from ATF-DX to the Meta-LX. But that's just something to note. And then one more complaint that I did see was the fitment of the locking bolt into the limb adjustment screw. There's like a little booger on the end of the thread or something on the male part that goes in, the actual collet locking part, and it seems that the thread isn't cut super clean, so it felt like I was almost cross-threading the threads as I was putting the lock bolt in and taking it out. It just didn't have the same really highly polished experience that I'm used to with Win&Win and how easily it went together and easily it came apart. Now those complaints aside, very small complaints, you know, slightly small tiller bolts, tiller plate, or the plate had changed in the plunger, the grip size being too big, and you know, the fit and finish there on that locking interface. Everything else is great. Like I said, the finish is amazing. It aligned perfectly easy despite the locks being a bit of a pain, or at least something that's, you know, not common for me with Win&Win as far as that experience. And overall, I really like it. I like that it's much lighter. I think it's 100 grams, 100 plus grams lighter, something like that, than the Meta-DX. It's also lighter than the ATF-DX. You can pull out these EHS harmonic stabilizers out of the actual pockets and save like an extra 60 grams or something like that by putting in the silicone plugs that they've got. You know, there's nice little features here or there, and all of the gear and the kit that comes with the actual riser is nice. You get a towel, you get a three-way wrench. That's a little bit of a fancy thing that's I haven't seen before, so it makes adjusting the riser a little bit easier. And the actual, you know, standard Allen wrenches and all the other components that come in the bag. It's just little bits and pieces that comes with the actual riser that makes the experience a little bit better. One thing I did forget too, I used that three-way wrench, and I wasn't expecting it to be so difficult to crack these tiller bolts loose, because normally they have tiller or collet locks, not the standard grub screw, as I said. And when I went to break this free for the very first time, literally right out of the box, I put a big chip in the riser right here where the Allen wrench goes in. Normally Win&Win has big through holes essentially, and you can't pull the grub screw out of the back of this hole. It's got to go out the front, just like a Hoyt would be, a modern Hoyt. So because of that extra little hole and the torque load that I was putting on there to crack it free, I just chunked a big chunk of paint out of this riser. That is like one of the biggest downfalls for carbon fiber risers, in my opinion. The paint's, you know, it's paint, it's gel coat, all sorts of other things above the layers of carbon fiber, and it's susceptible to chipping and scratching, a little bit more so than anodizing, in my opinion. Now, that stuff aside, I mean, really, I'm not disappointed. I just wish I could have a standard grip on it, because the stock grips that come with most bows, this one included, there's a lot to be desired. It's a little bit big. It's definitely huge for people with medium-sized gloves or smaller. It's just, yeah, very lackluster. It's not going to be a very positive hand placement experience, and it's, you know, pretty slick despite it having that soft touch feel rubberized coating. It's just a little on the slick side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get my camera set up downrange so you'll be able to see the impacts the entire time, and I'm going to start my tuning here at 30 meters. Get a good tune going. I don't know if I'm going to need 450 or 410x10s. Then I'm going to go up to 18 meters or 20 yards and shoot a 30 arrow scoring round to actually see how this bow feels through a scoring round. And I'll let you know what I think about the bow as far as how it feels and how easy it tunes and sets up. So I'm starting with my tiller bolts all the way out to see if I can get these 450s to tune here at 30 meters. And like I said, I've got a camera down there so you'll be able to see where the arrows are going the whole time. Got to make sure my clicker's set and things like that, so might be a little rough in the beginning as I get warmed up here. I mean, first impressions is that the bow definitely jumps really hard. I have probably the hardest jumping set of limbs on here that I got is the Win&Win NSXPs, the foams here. They are rocket ships, and this bow definitely launches out of the hand. I can definitely tell the riser is much, much lighter than what I'm used to. I could bump up the stabilizer weights a little bit, although I feel like running a slightly lighter setup overall wouldn't be a bad thing. That one made a very funny sound. Didn't shoot it all that differently, but the arrow definitely didn't go in the middle. See where a bare shaft. Actually, I'll shoot this one with a hole in it first. Probably will hit a little lower. Shoot a bare shaft. Oh, I might not have to do much. I'm gonna go get him and do that again. First impressions though is the bow definitely jumps very hard. I definitely need to shoot more arrows before I can make any comments as to how it feels. Definitely is giving me some sort of feedback. I'm not sure what I'm doing differently, but I'm getting different tones from the bow, slightly different vibration profiles as well. When it sounds funny, getting a little bit of feedback from the bow itself, which is a good thing. Overall, jumps real hard. I do like the lighter weight riser so far. I'm a fan of it, and we'll see how it goes over the tuning process and then a scoring round, and I'll continue to let you know any sort of insights, any sort of feedback that I can give you. As I discover it, I'll discuss it with you. So one thing that I forgot to mention is that I did find that I think the thickness of the bow, the sight window, is bigger on this right side. It's not any thicker towards the middle, but it's thicker on this side because I had to screw my plunger out a good amount to get my center shot set, and I am grouping slightly to the left, which tells me that everything on this plane is offset further to the right. This bow is supposed to give a little bit more resistance to movement and torquing on the shot, supposedly. At least that's what Win&Win seminar production material shows. And it says that it helps resist movement as the arrow's coming out of the bow, torquing side to side, possibly because it's a thicker riser overall. Maybe leading to a little bit more stability. But good news, that first end, the bear shaft was right in the group with all those flet shafts, so hopefully everything stays in place there. I'm definitely having a little bit of trouble with my anchor because I'm wearing Invisalign for the first time. This is the second week now, just starting. In case you're wondering why I sound different, that's why. And also, because there's stuff on my teeth, my anchor is slightly different. Everything feels a little bit off. So it'll take me a little bit to get used to. Yeah, the bow launches really, really nice. It's not as dead as I'm used to most of these carbon fiber risers feeling. Definitely adds a little bit more residual vibration in the shot than I was expecting, to be honest. There's that odd sound. Arrow hit way high too. Not exactly easy shooting conditions with all the noise and distraction going on. I don't have any complaints with how this bow feels. Jumps real well, giving me some good feedback. Really wish the grip was different. Odd sound again, hit high. Maybe it's something to do with my anchor, with the whole Invisalign stuff. Now the bear shaft. Wasn't the greatest shot. Went a little high as well. Didn't have that same feel, but definitely made a mistake. I'm gonna go get him and do it one more time just to be sure. But as far as stiff weak is concerned, it's pretty much fine. It's gonna be more than good enough to shoot a very high score. The limit will not be my tune at this point. I can already confidently say that. It's gonna be my consistency in my shot and consistency in my anchor. Yeah, I didn't pay as much attention on that one, on my anchor, and I hit slightly high, so I think something's going on there. Because the first two I definitely paid attention to. The first one felt great, sounded great. Second one, it sounded a little funny, like the ones that normally go high, but it still went in the middle. So I think it's something to do with how I'm biting down on these retainers, or these aligners. Shot that one very funny. That's why it went high. Definitely felt like I heeled it a little bit too much on that one. That's the problem with shooting only one bear shaft. I really should be having more than one. I just haven't made any more arrows. I only have 7 of these 450s made. That's why I only have 5 fletched ones, 1 with a hole in it, and then 1 bear shaft. Overall, I think the bow feels excellent. I mean, I didn't really have to do anything as far as stiff weak. I just happened to stumble upon it being perfect. I didn't even have to adjust my button pressure, nothing. And, you know, I think despite the slight differences in this riser compared to the other Win&Wins, it still is consistent. The geometry is still roughly the same and all sorts of other things. And I'm saying that without measuring it because my tune is still fairly consistent from bow to bow, riser to riser when Win&Win makes changes. So I'm still happy to see that despite seeing some of these changes that I'm not used to seeing from Win&Win. With that being said, I'm going to change us to a 40 centimeter face. I'm going to shoot a single spot because I don't have any 3 spots ready to go. And I'm going to go up there to 18 meters, get sighted in with 2 scoring ends, two sight-in ends rather, 2 practice ends, and then do a 30 arrow round for score. Well, I just shot my first end of practice, and apparently I didn't hit record. I hit the button and I was about to walk away, as you could see. What I was just saying was I'm really sorry about the noise. I was very excited to get this review done because this is a brand new product from Win&Win, and I wanted to get this content out there so people could see what the riser looked like and what I thought about it. And yeah, I was just discussing how, despite being slightly out of shooting shape and kind of a little wobbly here or there, the bow's still very stable. Definitely not up to snuff as far as my shooting conditions concerned. So these NS limbs are a little bit more punishing than what I would rather feel with more smooth limbs. But I love the performance of these NS limbs, so I wasn't gonna not put them on this bow because it is lighter and I love the way these NS limbs jump. But yeah, I mean, shooting okay, just getting dialed in and sighted in here. I'm gonna do one more end of practice to get fully sighted in, and then we'll start the 30 arrow round for score. It has been a considerable time since I've shot X10s at 18 meters or 20 yards to see what kind of score I got. It's been years, and I forgot how tiny they are. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of score I pull off here today. Plus the single spot, very odd, very odd to aim at. Haven't done that in years either. You want some distraction training? Shoot with that and film yourself to put it on YouTube. All right, so I'm warmed up now, mostly sighted in, still hitting a little high, but I'm gonna go get those arrows and we'll start scoring. I'm gonna shoot 3 arrow ends, 10 ends for a total of 30 points. I will keep track of regular scoring plus Lancaster scoring just for fun, and I may consider actually adding an ounce on this long rod. Just feels a little light in the front. Don't know if that's because of the balance of the bow or if that's because of just the extra lightness of the riser. So I'm adding 1 ounce to the long rod because it definitely feels a little light, like I said. Yeah, like I said, feels real stable, so I'm really happy with that. Even though I'm shaking, the bow's wanting to stay nice and centered, So my stabilizer balance didn't need to change a whole lot, just add an extra ounce compared to my ATF-DX. I'm gonna continue scoring each end. I will tell you what I shot for score in the previous end before I shoot those next 3 arrows, just so you know. That way I can actually see what I actually score and let you know what I shot. First one was a 28 regular, 29 Lancaster scoring. Keep going high. I'm really noticing that I'm able to really put a lot of different torque in this grip. Like I said, the first thing I always replace is the stock grip on every single bow I get. Very few are even remotely what they should be, let alone ideal. So I really wish I could have put a different grip on this one. So some of the variation that I'm able to put in is like the torque, how much I'm pushing with my thumb, how much I'm pushing with my finger, and I'm just noticing a lot of variability in hand pressure overall. So I'm gonna go get them and continue going. That last one was a 26 988 high. My group high is really good. Just continue to hit high, so moving the sight up, but yeah, I did have that high-low issue in the tuning portion. This bow definitely has a lot more vibration after the shot than any carbon bow I've ever shot from Win&Win. I think possibly it has to do with the light mass weight overall, because I left these dampers in for the sake of vibration dampening. Definitely has the most aftershock of any carbon bow I've shot from them. That was a much better end. Why can't they all be like that? Last one was a 30 normal scoring or 32 Lancaster. First one, the bow was moving to the left when it went off. Second one, I tried to stabilize a little bit more before expanding, and it ended up pushing up high at the very end just before release. That was a 27. I'm convinced a grip would make a massive difference on this. If I do my job putting the pressure in the grip consistently, the bow is so much more consistent. A little dip on that one. That one was a 29 or 31. Knew it was going to go right when I let go. I'm gonna put 1 more ounce on the long rod. It just still feels a little, it's stable, but it's not as predictable as I would like it to be. So I'm thinking just a little bit more on the end is gonna help it out. So I was running 8 ounces on all the stabilizers Now I'm running 8 on the V-bars, and I am running now 10 on the long rod. So 2 ounce change is a big change on the end of the long rod. I don't know what it is. Could be the grip, honestly, because it's a different grip. I don't like it, and I'd rather have a good, solid, consistent grip, one that I like and built. But it can't be just the grip. It's got to also be the mass weight of the riser, or the balance of the riser naturally, or something like that. Something's different to need 2 ounces more on the long rod. All right, that last one was a 28. That extra ounce really, so far, that first impression there is much, much better. Yeah, way better. That one was totally my fault, but the pin does not want to move now at all. It is dead still, way, way more steady than even what I first initially said. So yeah, 2 more ounces if you got this bow and you're used to other Win&Wins like the aluminum ones, at least the ATF-DX and ATF-DX. Pretty similar in that regards. That one was a 30. That one was a 30 or 32. Woo. That one was quick, not quite ready for it. Still think I shot a 10 there. That's good. Definitely so much better with that extra ounce. So 2 ounces is the ticket. So much more stable. One more end after this one. That one was also a 30 or 32. So this is the last end for score. I sure wish I would have put the weights on the long rod to begin with, or realized I needed to. Sometimes you don't realize those things until you're, you know, quite a ways through a process to realize, oh, wow, I should have configured something slightly different, but I'm glad I figured it out at some point here. All right. Okay, so I got away from the noise, so it's a little bit more manageable. You'll still be able to hear them in the background. So the score I shot a 30 or 32 to finish, so I finished with 4 30s in a row. I believe that was when I put the 2nd ounce on the long rod as well. So definitely quite interesting. I shot a 288 or 299, depending on if it's standard or Lancaster scoring. So I shot 11 11s. And what I did notice was in the first half, I dropped 11 points. In the second half, I only dropped 1 point for standard indoor scoring. And that was, I think, in a large part because I added an extra ounce to the long rod. So I did find that for whatever reason, this bow balanced considerably different compared to my Win&Win ATF-DX, which I was running, you know, like I said, 8 ounces on all 3 long rods. I didn't change the length of my stabilizers. I didn't change the angle of my stabilizers at all. And I believe from what I looked when I put the 2 risers, the ATF-DX and this Meta-LX on top of each other, stabilizer bushing was exactly in the same location, pivot points the same, the geometry seemed the same. The bow is 100 grams lighter, which is a considerable amount. You know, it's more than 2 ounces. So the bow still feels light despite now holding very, very still with 2 extra ounces on my long rod only. Like I said, I don't know what that is. I'm sure it's in large part because of the lighter mass weight of the riser. So if you're gonna be going to this riser because it's lighter, you may consider adding more weight to the long rod to compensate for that lack of mass weight in the riser. Outside of that, the bow shot very well. It felt very stable. Even without the 2 ounces on the long rod, it still felt pretty predictable. But once I dialed it in and added those extra ounces on the long rod, it really started to shine in stability. I could expand with way more confidence, and the sight pin just didn't want to move off the target face, not off the center at least. And it just was a bit more of a confident feeling for me, so I could be a lot more aggressive, even with these very aggressive Win&Win NSXP foam limbs. I still could be very confident in my expansion without being punished for it at all. So definitely something that I'm going to continue to experiment with, and I'll probably shoot this bow for a little bit before I consider switching back to the ATF-DX. I really like the aluminum risers, but this one feels quite good out of the hand. You know, like I said, I'm getting a lot more vibration in this riser than any other carbon fiber riser I've shot from Win&Win, probably in large part also because of lighter mass weight. Just didn't feel as dead in the hand, which never was a problem before with carbon risers. It was just very notable. I could feel it was very clean, very little vibration, and just pretty much dead in the hand post-shot. With this, it's definitely a lot more aggressive and very snappy. The limbs are very nice in that regard, and maybe putting these limbs on another carbon fiber riser from Win&Win, I might yield similar results with a little bit more vibration than I'm used to. It's not bad. It's really not bad. It's just surprising. You know, there's some minor issues that I saw here or there with the fit and finish of the limb adjustment to adjust the alignment, because it just feels like the threads aren't cleaned out properly. I think it's actually the OD of the locking thread. There's a little goober on the end on the very last thread on all 4 of the bolts. And so when I went to go install them, it felt like I was almost cross-threading the threads, but I knew they were engaging properly, so I went ahead and finished screwing them in anyway. So be careful there. Just make sure you've got the components lined up how they should be. The tiller bolts are different, like I said, still a little bit undersized, unfortunately. Win&Wins normally don't come in undersized. These came in under 373 thousandths of an inch, and I would really like to see them at 374 to 375 personally. They did change the way that these work. They're no longer collet locks. Now they're standard grub screws. Not standard, but they're grub screw locks. Although the precision tiller bolts do still fit this riser, so if you have those and you have another Win&Win, you'll be able to put them in this if you want to do so. These are also very heavy for whatever it's worth. I know Win&Win has many other options for tiller bolts out there, so if you're really struggling with mass weight and you want to pull these EHS dampers out and swap these to aluminum, you'd probably save at least another 100 grams if I had to guess. So maybe if you're a child or a woman out there, you may want to consider doing that, finding the Win&Win tiller bolts that are M13 in aluminum. Outside of that, yeah, the other problem really was the grip area underneath the grip where the riser is here. It's definitely much wider than your standard Win&Wins. It's a full millimeter wider at least compared to the ATF-DX. So if you've got a custom grip, or you got a grip you already custom built for your ATF-DX, it's not going to fit on this riser because this riser is wider. I really wish Win&Win would kind of standardize that a little bit. They've been changing grips over the years, grip shapes, the thickness of the riser, and it's really the only thing that Win&Win hasn't standardized across the board is just going with a single grip for everything, because it's really convenient and really nice to pull a grip off of one bow that I had several years ago, put it on this bow because I'm comfortable. It's comfortable, it's set up for me, I modified it for me, or I bought a grip from Arcor and I put it on this bow. But now you got to start all over again, unfortunately, and it's a bit of a disappointment there, to be really brutally honest with you. I mean, I really don't have a ton to complain about. The bow is super sharp. I really like the flake in it. I really like the pearlescent finish on it. Personally, I really like this white and black finish. I've been more going to this white or black for a considerable amount of time. but the white is actually very nice, and it's not too bright. It's not in my line of vision, even though the riser is slightly thicker here than most other Win&Wins, as I said already too. So as far as what I think, I mean, I think it's a very solid riser. I really wish there was a little bit here or there that was just a small amount better, like it normally is on every Win&Win. You know, I actually shot a pretty good score indoors here. I surprised myself, actually. It's been a long time since I've shot an indoor round. It's actually been since 2018 when I retired in Vegas. That's the last indoor round I shot, so that was a good long time ago. So fun to shoot. First time I'd done it on a single spot since I was like a young teenager as well. So yeah, it was very interesting. And the group showed it would have been a much higher score had I sighted in sooner or put that stabilizer weight on properly right away. Like I said earlier, if you're interested in grabbing one of these Win&Win Meta-LX Risers, I will have links in the description below to Lancaster Archery Supply. That is an affiliate link. It genuinely helps this channel out if you click that link before you shop there. Win&Win did send me this riser. I forgot to disclose earlier in the video. So I'm going to also add this little segment earlier in the video. Full disclosure, just like I always do on this channel, Win&Win did supply me this riser for testing for free for the sake of putting a review on my channel. However, just like every other review, I always let them know that I will just be brutally honest, and no matter what, I'm going to tell it like it is. However, if I find some issues like I found in this riser, I'm going to reach out to them and see what they have to say. And if they have any response, I will let you know and post it down in the video or down in the description below their response to let me know what they thought about, you know, something like the limb adjustment system or the width of the riser. I'm sure the width of the riser is because they wanted to add stability. But anyway, they gave me this for free for the sake of the review, but I'm going to be honest and I will highlight things that I find, but I give them first right of refusal to let me know if for some reason maybe there's a manufacturer's defect, because this is one of the very first risers out there, and maybe I did something wrong as well. So I will let you know if they have any response to any of the issues that I did see. And huge thanks to Win&Win for sending me this gear. And also I thank my viewers, my supporters, and if you enjoyed this video, please do hit that subscription button and the notification bell down below. Genuinely, that helps this channel grow. Consider sharing it as well. A lot of people out there haven't found this channel because I only really post on YouTube. Operating a little bit here or there on some other social media platforms, but nothing like I used to, and I definitely prefer it that way. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you like this video, consider sharing it. Genuinely, that would help this channel out. Also, if you wouldn't mind, please do consider supporting this channel. There's many different links down in the description below. I can't thank my supporters enough. Without you, I wouldn't be able to produce this content, at least not to this level. Thank you.